Hi everyone, it's Angel with Pure Earth Angel. I just wanted to give a surrogate update. And I am matched again for the third time. This has been quite the journey. Going into it, I thought, pass all the tests, get all your paperwork turned in, hit your doctor's appointments, find your match, get approved, meet. I thought it was just gonna be like a breeze, just go right on through, and it hasn't. And although we go to a group meeting once a month and I get to meet and talk to other surrogates that are with my agency, you get to hear all the stories of where they are in their journeys and their trials and tribulations and ups and downs and everything. Although I have that kind of support, when I was looking into it, it's just still not something that's talked about that much. That's why I continued to make these videos and share my story with it. So I wanted to be completely transparent and share what my journey's been like so far. This one's going to be just on my matching right now. I have a great OBGYN story and how they sucked so bad, but that is definitely like the next video, because that it's a long story and it's terrible and it's a long story. So look forward to that. So as far as matching goes, it took me forever to get matched, because again, next video, OBGYN, took like 4 to 6 months. It took me forever to get past that. Right around, it was right the week of Thanksgiving, I finally got the email from my agency telling me to, I have some profiles to look at of some couples, and I was so excited to get that email. I had just on a whim checked my email before I went to work. I was like literally in the parking lot at my job, and luckily I go early, so I had time to really look into it. And if I'm being completely honest, I was actually really nervous, because I had been waiting so long and I had been so eagerly like just ready to get matched and move on in this process, that I was a little bit nervous that I would jump to the first couple and be like, okay, this is it, just out of pure excitement. So in the back of my head, I had that a little bit of a fear. And so I read my first profile, and I was all kinds of emotions. Their story touched me, and they were local. They were in LA, so they're really local. But as I was reading it, there was that tinge in the back of my throat, like this isn't it. They aren't my couple. We aren't. I don't know. I saw in my heart that it would be difficult with them. I wasn't sure how I would do with the mom. So with a heavy heart, I was like, okay, this is a no. And that was a lot for me, because to say no, I felt like I was telling them no, like literally telling them no, even though it was just saying we're not the right match. So that part was hard, because I'm like, if I can give everybody babies, I would give everybody babies, you know? So that was actually a really difficult moment for me. And I moved on to reading the next profile. I was given 2 that day. And before I started, I just had to take a deep breath, because I was like, wow, this isn't going to be as easy as I thought it was. It's just as difficult as the rest of the process has been for me. And so I started to read the profile, trying not to have my hopes high. And as I was reading it, I just started crying. I mean, I think it was just built up emotions of waiting so long, but different things in this profile, I was like, oh my gosh, we have so much in common. I was blown away. It was a single dad from London. Although he had been in a committed relationship for years, since he wasn't married, he was labeled as a single dad. And I'm telling you, I was crying in the parking lot at work. like a crazy person. And I immediately accepted. I emailed the agency. I immediately contacted family and my support group, and I was like, I think I just found my match, and I was just crying. I was so excited. And of course it was right before Thanksgiving. It might have been like the Wednesday or Tuesday right before Thanksgiving. And so I knew I wasn't going to hear back right away. And I heard back, I think I waited till Monday or Tuesday, and I emailed them and I'm like, so what's going on? Like, what did they say? And they were like, he loved you. It looks like we're gonna move forward. They just have he has some things he has to work out. So, you know, sit tight. And I was like, okay. And a few more days passed, and I was like, okay, well, what's next? What can I do next? What can I do? You know, I was just eager. And they ended up calling me, and they're like, all right, here's the deal. And I was like, no, what? So his lawyer, he loved me, but his lawyer was really, really pushing for his surrogate to be a single person. Somebody who wasn't in a relationship or married. Different areas around the world are going to have different rules that they're going to fight for. In some places surrogacy is even illegal. But although he wanted to work with me, he loved me, he was kind of already arguing with his lawyer. And let's face it, you don't want to be arguing with your lawyer or having, you know, not listening to your lawyer, basically. So she was giving me the heads up, and she was like, okay, so he's still fighting for you, but he also doesn't have embryos that are ready to go. So it can still take, you know, a while. And even if, you know, she's like, you can be waiting a while, and then, you know, he gives in to his lawyer. Or, you know, you move forward and his lawyer is just the entire time negative talking into his ear. So she was like, we can stay here, but it's going to take a long time, and it could not end up being a best match. And so I was like, oh, okay, what do we do then? So she's like, I'm going to send you some more matches, and let's see where that goes. So my heart was heavy because, you know, I had just said yes, and then that, you know, it was taken away, and I didn't know how to feel. It was a bunch of emotions. And they sent me some more, and I got a couple, and I really liked them too. They were another international couple. They were in Mexico. This is their second surrogacy with my agency. They had a child last year, and they're looking for a sibling project. So I was like, okay, great, you know, and they were, you know, talking them up, you know, they've worked with us. They're really great. They're a lovely couple. I was like, okay. And this is right before Christmas now. And so, let me see. Okay, so it was a little tiny bit shaky also because, unless you really know international people, you don't realize how this election really affected the world. So one, they're, you know, international and they have business elsewhere, but two, they're also from Mexico, and Mexico and Trump aren't going hand in hand right now. So they were nervous. They were wanting to make sure, you know, their business is really locked down, the economy, they're, you know, not sure which way the economy is actually going to go. And they just wanted to make sure everything, they had all their whole, you know, was it ducks in a row? And so they were like, okay, and the holidays are right here, so they're going to focus on making sure, you know, everything's looking good on their business side and everything's working out. So they asked, you know, for a little bit of time before we set up our Skype meeting. And so I was like, okay, obviously, yeah, of course, end of year, holidays and everything, of course. And so the first of the year comes around, and I'm still eagerly waiting to just set up a Skype meeting to officially meet these guys. And I'm not hearing anything back from my agency. And then, so I start contacting them, and I'm like, you know, hey, what's going on? Have you heard anything? you know, like what? And they're like, well, we haven't heard too much from them. We're still trying to set up that meeting for you, blah, blah, blah. And so I was like, okay, cool. And then still as the days were going on, I'm like, this isn't right. This doesn't feel right anymore. And I reached out to my counselor with the agency, and I was like, I hate to say this, but I feel like I shouldn't be more excited and more eager to move forward in this process than the couple. I'm like, you know, they're about to get a baby. They should be the ones eagerly contacting us to move things forward. In my personal opinion, you know, if this was me, the entire, you know, no matter how busy I am, this would be my top priority. That's how I think. And so she was like, you know, you're absolutely right. What do you want to do? Do you want to just, you know, completely end things? And I was like, well, no, I don't want to just be like, sorry. I was like, well, let's give them, you know, why don't you contact them again? And let's give them a week or two to, you know, set, you know, our date up. So she was like, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's giving them time to respond, but also letting them know you're kind of wasting time. So she gave them till the following week, emailed them, had them contacted different ways, and so about a week starts to roll by, and I you know, contacted my agency again. I was like, well, have you heard anything? And they're like, yeah, they emailed, but all they had said was they really loved you. They didn't set up a date or anything, which is what they asked for in the email. So I was like, okay. And she's like, so we're not going to waste your time, point blank. We're going to tell them, sorry, we had to rematch you because we're just going to wait till they're ready to move forward, but clearly they're not. So I was like, okay, let's do that, I guess. And so, I was let down. I won't lie. I was like, oh, this is my second heartbreak, you guys. You know, like, I just want to, you know, help complete their families. This is something I'm just so passionate about. So my heart was hurting a little bit. And then a few days later, they sent me another couple. Because they had already told me, we have someone in mind for you, but we want to make sure first, before we even send you this profile, that they have everything ready to move forward, and, you know, so no more time is wasted. Because, you know, they fully understand, as, you know, as a surrogate, you're putting a lot of your life on hold for another family. And, you know, I've been waiting since, I don't know when I applied and started this whole process, June, I think, of last year. And, you know, I've been putting off traveling. I've been putting off just so much because I never knew where I was going to be along in my surrogacy process. So there's so much that I have already missed out on, but I'm willing to miss out on as long as, you know, for this purpose. And so they sent me another couple, and it was another one of those moments where I was just like, oh my gosh. It was just like the first couple. And I was like, you know, yes. Reading their profile, I was like, oh my gosh, we have this, and this in common. I was like, oh my gosh, he has this in common with my husband. And I was like, oh wow, I loved it. And they're local too. And at first, when I was first going through this process, like, I didn't know if I wanted a local couple or not. I just wasn't sure. But as soon as I saw how close they were to us, I was like, there was just something in me was like, everything was just like ding, 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 ding. Like, this is right, this is right, this is right. And so I was like, okay. Yes. And so then we were again in the process of setting up a meeting, and this time, since they are so close, we get to meet in person. And we the first meeting, since it's in person, they also have my husband go too, so, you know, it's couple to couple. And so it was kind of, okay, well, let's set dates. they work Monday through Friday. James works Monday through Friday. They all have weekends off. Who just got a new job and doesn't have weekends off yet? This girl. So I was like, oh no. And then of course James could miss work. And what's amazing about this agency is they will, if you miss work, they essentially pay you what you would make that day. So your income is not affected at all by the agency. So you submit your paychecks and they figure out what you make each day, and they give you that once you've missed it, whatever. So I was like, okay, let's do this. But I was like, I really don't want, if we can avoid it, if James doesn't have to miss work, let's do that. Because although they'd pay him for the day, James gets like 20 hours a week of overtime. So even if he's missing a day, he's not getting the hours, so he's not getting as much overtime at the end of the week. Therefore, although they're taking care of him one day, it's still affecting his check as a total. So I was like, if we can not do that, I mean, it's not a huge deal, but I mean, if you guys are trying to pay what he'd be making, I don't think you guys can do that. And I can't miss work because I'm brand new still at my new job. So, but it worked out. We're meeting on my birthday. James had already requested it off, so it's just, I'm so excited. It's like the best birthday present, and I'm going to, of course, share my journey each step of the way from now on. I'm getting a journal right now that I'm going to start on that day. I'm going to write in this journal about my entire surrogacy process, well, up until starting out when I meet the parents. And this journal I'm going to give to as a present to the baby, that they can read later on, to really see, what their parents went through to get them, how much they were loved before they were born, and what a journey it had been, and the full process that went into making sure, they were born and that they have this amazing family who truly, really loves them and fought so hard to get them there. So I'm really excited to start that journal. Of course, I'm doing these videos too, and I'm just so excited and so ready to do this. So, yay! I'm gonna share, again, I think it'll be my next video, about the wonderful OBGYN story and how horrible they were. So look forward to that. If you want to keep following these videos, please subscribe and like this video. If you have any questions or anything, please comment below and I'll make sure that I get them answered for you. Alright, you guys have a wonderful day. Bye!